with deep reverence, I want to approach this subject. And I do have a tendency to turn everything into a joke and to not take anything too seriously. But I don't really believe in taking things too seriously. I think life is meant to be light-hearted and fun. But this might be the one thing that I'll take seriously. It's like we need some Lord of the Rings music. Like maybe I'll play some music to convey the epicness of this, ladies and gentlemen. The Return of the King. Like, I just want to run around in a fairy dress and go knocking on doors and just be like, Jesus is back! Knock, knock. Jesus is back, everybody! Jesus is back! But they'd lock me up. Yeah. And mass ridicule is never fun, but it is my duty to share my truth, and I should have done this a long time ago, but I had some real demons to conquer. I don't know, I had some self-doubts and some issues of faith to transmute, and a lot of fear to work through to get me here today. And I still feel very anxious. I still don't feel how I thought I would feel when sharing this. I thought that I'd be like, and I do feel that way, but today I feel just butterflies, and I feel I slept for 10 hours. I'm still tired. But I believe that I'm enough as I am right now to share my truth, and that we all are enough as we are. Even when we're at our lowest, we're still enough, and our truth still matters. And can you hear those birds? They're very, very loud. The return of the King, Jesus Christ. To claim that you think that you know who Jesus is surely the most controversial thing that one can say. But the truth is the truth. You know, you only have two choices in life: fear or faith. And as hard as I've tried to be in faith, I have been very much in fear. And it is my prayer that ends today. And I'm just going to start putting all of these true stories and my heart's truth out there, because I believe that there are people out there that need to hear this, and it is just a piece in a grand puzzle. And like someone wise once said, the truth that you share will liberate you, and the truth that you withhold will eat away at you. And that's what is happening. I cannot take it any longer. This is a serious rabbit hole. Is the holy grail of rabbit holes, Return of the King. And most of my life, I I mean, I never did Bible studies, and I always believed in God and the angels and reincarnation and, the spirit realms. But I really just thought this story of Jesus just sound like it's just so much BS, and you know, religious institutions have been just so corrupt. And I knew that, yeah, there's lots of truth in these teachings. Every religion has its truths, but there's just also so much distortion. And so I guess I just refuse to look at it. And kind of like what Russell Brand says, it's like I just thought, like, even though I haven't read the Bible, like, I already know what's in it and I don't need to read it. And there was definitely that arrogance and just this like deep rebelliousness to this idea of surrendering to a higher power and obeying the commands, and all of that just completely triggered the rebel in me. And I just like would have a intense physical reaction to it, like, no thank you. But there has been a few times that I've been in churches and I've just like invited Christ to connect with me, or I've connected with Christ love, and felt the most overwhelming, gentle, stable, amazing sense of love. And I do believe that Jesus Christ was a master that really embodied Christ consciousness. But more than that, he did amazing things to influence and guide humanity. And after some mind-blowing coincidences that have occurred in my life for the past, well, since 2012 is when it really began in a big way. If you watch My Confession of the Reincarnation of Anne Boleyn, it's a big call. It's a pretty bold statement. I don't think there's ever been anybody that has come out publicly and said, I was such and such in a past life and it's gone well. It's something that I really never wanted to go public with, because it's just cringy, and who cares, and how do you prove it, and why live in the past? So the fact that I did go public with this is really a testament to the fact that I believe there's just a much bigger picture and grander story and divine plan that I find myself in, that is meant to be shared. And it's a beautiful story. It's a provocative story. It's a controversial story, but it's all true, and it's been very intense. And my book series is called Nostalgia, and that is coming soon. I've been saying that for like 4 years, but I wrote an article about this. It's on my website, which there'll be a link below this video to read that. It took me 8 months to write it. And it's only just, a gives you an introduction to some of the main events that have occurred. And yeah, it's going to take a lot of books to tell the whole story. And I've tried to give you the best bits, or at least the most relevant ones. So I posted this image on my Instagram on the 19th of May, 2023. Was the first time that I really just blatantly came out with my controversial story. And it's just continued to get crazier and wilder, and it's felt like I'm just tripping all the time and I can't stop tripping. So if you're curious to go down this rabbit hole, then brace yourself, okay? But if you love a mystery, then you're gonna love this, I'm sure. So that's a picture I took in Paris in 2010, I think. And I don't know, I really like that picture. And yeah, it's us, all of us, on this endless ride through endless experiences. This is me when I was born, and like, why am I starting here? Well, I feel like people are going to be curious, so I may as well, I don't know, give you a little bit of background. They had, my parents had names picked out for me, like Alice and Celeste. But then when I arrived and they looked at me, they're like, Elisabeth, just randomly. And I just opened my eyes and like looked around the room and probably thought, shit, I'm back. And yeah, people have often made a connection between me and Alice in Wonderland. Curious, rebellious. My first friend was a white rabbit called Moi, because I'd make him go boing, 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 but I couldn't say boing, so I'd say Moi. And I still have him, he's so cute. And I got into beauty in my 20s and realized that all the major brands are like poisoning us, and they're tag teaming with the oil industry to make a fortune poisoning us, but that's a whole other story. So this is me, and this picture of these two gentlemen, that's what I'm about to get into. This was my post. For the past decade, I've wondered, should I tell people my true story or not? For as interesting as it may be, it will no doubt attract all kinds of ridicule and perhaps scrutiny over my most private of affairs, many of which my heart is still tender about. It's also possible that sharing my true story could put me in danger. But after much consideration, I've decided I'm not going to allow trolls and haters to silence me or threaten my life. For the jaw-dropping coincidences have continued to leave me in awe at the majesty of God's creation, of what appears to be the manifestation of divine poetic justice. A story is unfolding, one that goes beyond my personal desires or fantasies, a story that seems destined to be revealed. So I feel it's my duty to share my controversial truth, no matter the consequences. I'd feel more comfortable in hiding, but I feel I must confess. Not for attention or for any particular outcome, but because I believe the truth is more important than being popular. The truth is the best medicine and the greatest of all adventures. Anyway, I wasn't quite sure how to put such a long and wild story into a short Instagram post, so I am writing some books. But in the meantime, on this rather meaningful day, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to make a short but sweet proclamation. Drum roll, please. Activates Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. I'm back. I can't say that very well, but I know someone that says it very well. Hashtag, etc., etc. You know. So, yeah. It seems that, so when I posted that, I just thought everybody is going to just ignore me. They're going to think I'm crazy. I really didn't expect to discover that there are groups of people that that took it seriously and who actually understand that our history is full of lies, and especially when it comes to Anne Boleyn's, well, there's a lot of lies around the fall of Anne Boleyn. And Anne Boleyn escaped her execution. And she had another daughter, Mary, and with her queen title intact. And she bred a secret Holy Grail lineage who would be safe or relatively safe from the Jesuit persecution that Elisabeth I had to deal with. And she, through her second daughter, Mary, has a living descendant, Joseph Gregory Hallett, who has released 13 new books. The first one is called Queen Anne Boleyn's Great Escape and Legacy. And I found out about this coincidentally on the 19th of May, 2020, which is the date of her execution. So it was very poetic and it was the best information I could have got at the time, because I was worried about my life. And because history does tend to repeat itself until you learn the lessons. And so it really meant a lot to discover that perhaps she wasn't murdered, and she wasn't completely alone. And as I've gone down this rabbit hole, I've realized that there's clues, and there are people that know this because they have access to historical records that most don't. And it's not because they're bad people, but for thousands of years, wars have been fought often over, historical records and relics. I mean, people have battled over the desire to control the narrative, to control our perception of history. And there are certain things that, if we're handed into a museum, would go missing because it would destroy the mainstream narrative. And so there's a lot of historical relics out there that show the truth, and they are so valuable. And so this is why secret societies exist, not because they are, I mean, yes, sometimes the reason people are secretive is because they're up to no good, but it's also sometimes the opposite. Some people are secretive for the sake of preservation, preserving very important important information that must be kept secret, kept safe. And so what do you do when you have access to these amazing secrets? And you can't just go and tell people directly or blatantly, because you're sworn to secrecy. And I've realized that a lot of these amazing secret truths are put forward through art. We're given clues in cinema. And after learning what I learnt about Anne Boleyn and her grandson, Sir Walter Raleigh, and I found myself watching this movie, Elisabeth, and it was so obvious to me that the people who made this also know the truth, because Elisabeth I, she led just such an amazing, rich life. I mean, so much happened in her life. And why, of all the things that she went through, did they choose to put what they put into this short movie? And why did they end the movie with her holding Sir Walter Raleigh's baby? She was a virgin queen, and she didn't have any children, but why paint her in this way? And it's because that baby, she knew, was her mother's truest legacy. She knew that her mother was alive, and she knew that she had a half sister, and she understood that she still had her queen title, which, if you look at the laws and what happened with her court case, which has also been brushed under the rug for some reason, that and she wanted to honor her mother. She wanted to honor her mother, and she knew that baby was like a secret royal lineage that would be a lot safer than she was, because after her mother and Henry took all the land and wealth back from the Catholic Church and created their own Church of England. I mean, that was like the biggest win for the patriots who believe in freedom and truth and goodness. And so, yeah, the Pope and that, they were pissed, okay, and they weren't gonna after Elisabeth, after her reign was over, they put one of their puppets back on the throne, and I think they knew what was going to happen. They knew they were going to be hunted to the end of the earth for what they did. So it's just amazing that there's just so much amazing history and truth weaved into the most amazing art form, cinema. I love music, but cinema has everything. So these are Greg Hallett's 13 books. Goes from Anne Boleyn's escape to Sir Walter Raleigh's adventures to America, and the truth about King James and the Magna Carta frauds. This is the true King of England. His story is the greatest story not yet told. He has been, his knowledge, everything about this man, he's one of the most targeted people on the planet. He has been exposing the corruption of the British royal family, and he is such a huge threat to the evil empire. They've tried killing him so many times, but he is divinely protected, and yes, he is under military protection because he is a treasure to this world. And this is where the stories of King Arthur and the Roundtable come from. I mean, history repeats itself, and like the dance, the planets, the cycles, the tale of King Arthur is prophetic. We all have our soul group, and we will reincarnate, at key times on the earth and come back together, and for the purpose of revolution, really. I mean, Jesus Christ is a revolutionary. For thousands of years, these biblical stories and prophecies have been weaved into art from books. They've been carved into stone, like Rosalind Chapel. Those with the eyes to see will recognize it, the similarities and what it all means. It all has a purpose, the colors, the symbolism. A lot of them were bombed in the war, but some still survive, and Joseph Gregory Hallett has been sharing so much amazing truths on his YouTube channel. The connection between, Jesus Christ and the ancient Egyptian mysteries. It's all coming out now. And he was talking about this late 2023, early 2024. He was blowing my mind with these truths. And I've noticed that since then, I've seen a lot of other people talking about this, that Jesus Christ was trained in the ancient Egyptian mysteries. He was a high priest, and it's all coming out. And the teachings are very similar. They're really the same teachings. It's just so much of it has been corrupted. J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, that is something to look into. I've realized that just so many movies and stories are all portraying these prophecies, and the prophecies are complex and comprehensive. So each movie and story is like sharing its own little piece of the puzzle. And my guess is that it's going to be massive disclosure about all this year. Maybe next year, but I think soon it's all going to come out, and people will be going back and watching these movies and seeing it on a whole new level and realizing there was so many other layers. Like, we just think it's for entertainment, but no, there's all these layers, and it's actually amazing what they've done. So what's this all about? It's not about Anne, it's not about Gregory, it's not about me, it's about freedom and truth and beauty, and it's about revolution. The world needs a revolution, and we're really waking up now to just how corrupt it's been, just how betrayed we as a people have been. And something that I think we forget or don't realize is that freedom is not free, because someone always pays the price. It's important that we here in the West who live, well, we've all got our problems, but we've got to stop taking our freedom for granted and realize that there are people that have been dying for us to be able to sit around and get fat and lazy and watch Netflix every night. We have to get angry. We have to look at it and get angry, because that anger, if we utilize it, that's what creates revolution. That's how the American Revolution was just created, by angry farmers. And what what these leaders have been up to, I can't even go into it. It's just too disgusting. When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. I won't lie, I was absolutely just horrified by the way most people just complied with the despicable mandates of the scamdemic. And old mate here from Django, like, it does feel like I live in a country, I live in Australia, where, like, if you point out that, like, your leaders are killing you, stealing from you, they get angry with you, they defend their captors, they have Stockholm syndrome. We're so demoralized and complacent, and I really hope that people start to rise up and just stop taking it, because we don't have to. And a lot of people are doing that, and there was some really inspiring protests, a movement, a new power is rising in England. They're sick and tired of having their government just let thousands, millions of people just come into the country illegally, who don't value, the values that England was built on. They're putting illegal immigrants in hotels, all expenses paid hotels, whilst English people are homeless, whilst veterans are homeless. I saw it with my own eyes when I was there. And now you're thinking I'm a racist. Like, I'm the least racist person. I have friends. I treat people like a human being. But this isn't about excluding people. This isn't about, you're lower than us. It's not about that. It's about protecting your cultural identity, your heritage, your history, the land that your ancestors lived on for thousands of years. This is about understanding where you come from and what it took to get you where you are today. Like, when you have a party, like, do you just let anybody in? No, because it's going to affect the vibe. Like, you're careful. Make sure that the people that are coming to your party, they like the same music. They, everyone's gonna get along. Like, I'm not, some cultures mix really well and some don't. And that's the reality. And the reason that everybody is flooding into the West is because we have democracy, it's a flawed democracy, but we have the closest thing in the world to democracy. We have human rights. We really do. And it's not perfect, but these countries, a lot of these countries that people are escaping from, they don't have those human rights. And the reason that the West has these rights is because of Christianity. That's where they come from. They were founded, the Western democracy is founded on the Christian values and beliefs that we are all children of God, or equal children of God. We all love the same, we all cry the same, we are all brothers and sisters. But as we are learning, we do need to have boundaries, and it's like a woman just full of love and just wanting to love everybody and not having any boundaries. And yeah, if you say anything about it, you're a racist. So but it really is beautiful what's happening at the moment. People are coming together. No longer this suburb fighting with this suburb and the north and the south fighting each other and the east west. Now it's like, no, we're all English, and we need to let's focus on what makes us the same. And not because we're judging or hating anybody else, but because we want to protect our heritage, our culture, our customs, our lands, the vibe. So, and people are, as they go on that journey and wondering about their own history and their own ancestry, and they arrive back at this, that our democracy, our rights, it all comes from the teachings of Jesus. Although it has been largely distorted, but it's being resurrected. And all you need is a little bit of hope, a little bit of curiosity can go a long way. If you dare to watch Greg's videos, you'll see why certain things are playing out in the British royal family. This is me on my 36th birthday. I went to Karajini National Park, which is a beautiful oasis in the middle of the West Australian desert, and I ended up giving a hitchhiker a ride, and he happened to be making a music video for a song called Nostalgia, which I didn't know at the time. And anyway, we ended up climbing a mountain. That's me when I was 8. I went to the Tower of London with my dad, Joseph, and my brother David. And my mother kept all the tickets, I discovered years later. And so I could actually see the dates that I went to some of these places, and that I actually went to the Tower of London on Bastille Day, which I thought was interesting. And we stayed at the Mountbatten, and this was a view outside our window. And I returned to Seven Dials actually 2014, but that's another story. There's a lot of stories. A lot of coincidences. A lot of coincidences. They're not coincidences, but anyway, This story is so magical and profound, majestic. It is epic. It takes my breath away. I am speechless. Okay. I'm in shock. Okay. I'm in awe. That's the truth. If I seem blasé, I am like, I wake up most mornings and I'm like, am I sure I'm not completely insane? It's so epic that I have genuinely I've really doubted my mental health. And I've had plenty of mental health issues over my life from some traumatic experiences. But this story, it's unbelievable. But I believe in it. I believe in it. And maybe intellectually, like, and this is, if you dare to come down this rabbit hole and read my article and watch Greg's videos, and, you know, you're going to intellectually just be like, you're going to struggle to believe it. And the only way to comprehend this really is to come into the heart. This story, this rabbit hole, it is an opportunity for you to find that balance between the mind and the intellect and the heart, the intuition. Both are needed. Just as the scamdemic was an opportunity for us to really start valuing our health more and grounding ourselves and detoxing and fasting and taking our health more seriously, so too is this story an opportunity to really go within and to really connect with that intuition and yeah, it's an invitation for you to come back to center. It has been for me. And I understand that if you are like, if you're in fight or flight, if you're still moving through addictions and things, then, you know, the last thing you want to do is just sit down and shut the fuck up and just listen to the wind. But it's the only way. Because the greatest truths, most of the time, they're not just handed to you on a golden platter. You have to hunt for them. You've got to earn, you've got to earn it. You've got to be curious. You've got to be brave. You've got to be open. You've got to stay open. This is what it's about at the end of the day. Nobody wants to be on a pedestal, okay? Nobody wants to be on a pedestal. It's not fun. It's not fun being the king. Heavy is the head who wears the crown, okay? It's not like Look at what happened to Jesus. Now, I don't personally resonate with the idea that he was crucified. I don't think that he was literally crucified. I think that is like symbolic of what he went through and what he's still going through and what people will go through when they dare to speak their truth, think for themselves, and say no to tyranny. And this is what it's about. It's about freedom, the freedom to be you, to be healthy, to be in joy, to have connection with your soul tribe, the freedom to have a family and not be struggling to make ends meet. The freedom to have peace. And I do believe that. So this is my theory. Is that the last? Yeah. Let's go back to nothing that you do is private. The all-seeing eye, it's not just, social media. It's God, okay? There is a Akashic records, a book of all things. Every experience is available to view in the book of all things. There are spirits, things we can't fathom, all around us. And some people have opened their third eye. They're able to go and view whatever they like across time and space. They can remote view, or another way of looking at it is they can use their light body, their astral body, to go and wherever they like across time and space. And so Jesus Christ was a master who achieved his title of Christ through gnosis, and he could view his other lives, like Matthias to Stefano, right? Jesus knew who he was in the grand scheme of things, and one of his roles was to prophesize the age. That's where the Bible comes from. It is a series of predictions. It was his way to guide humanity, and he knew that humanity was going to fall into ignorance. So they tried to give people a bit of a map of love yourself, love your neighbor. And he also knew where one of his main significant future lives would be at the beginning of the age of Aquarius, where we are now. They understood astrology, the cycles of planets and how we are connected to them, how the dance of the stars is mirrored here on Earth. And as the sun rises every morning, so too do these epic masters reincarnate at certain times during the cycle of planets when there's more light to come and, try to serve humanity. And so he described in detail where he would be during the end of the age of Pisces and the beginning of the age of Aquarius. There are high orders of awakened, amazing beings in service who have studied, who have access to all there is on these prophecies and have been able to, find him, because he left them. He left the map. He left the clues. This is where I'll be. And this is what's going to happen. And yes, there are multiple timelines. Yes, the future's not completely set, but some things are. And so it could give a rough, this is where I'll be. And so once these prophecies have been fulfilled and these high orders have, made their choice, like, yes, you are the Messiah. Like, you've proven yourself to be him. And we believe, like, we know you are. There's no doubt. I wonder that these awakened masters will kind of predict or intuit view what the age of Aquarius is going to be like, and do their best to serve humanity and guide humanity for the highest good of all. So that's what I believe, and I think Jesus is alive. I think that his roundtable of knights, I think that they everybody's remembering who they are. We're finding each other. We're awakening, and we're coming back together. And it's going to be epic. It's happening to all of us. It's happening on small micro scales, and it's happening on bigger scales as well. And as we come more and more into our truth, we will attract our true soul family and get to work on our mission of what we came here to do. And I believe that Jesus Christ's life 2,000 years ago was actually like preparation for his life now. Jesus and his disciples, this team of souls, who, not just through like biblical artifacts and texts, but also just through their own awakening and their own psychic gifts coming online and remembering their own past lives and remembering, their lives with Jesus and what happened. And slowly but surely, all the pieces of the puzzle are coming together, and we're able to paint a clear picture of, what really happened and what's true, what's not true. And there's going to be some epic disclosure, and discernment will be needed. Some people won't believe it. Some people will know instantly that it's true. And it will be another test to connect with your own intuition and your own truth. And so, yeah, I think that this time on Earth is like, this is showtime. This is the time. This is what we've all been training for. This is what Jesus trained for. This is what all of them were preparing for, was now. This revolution that we are in the middle of. So yeah, it's pretty epic. And it's surreal. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be insane. I could have functional schizophrenia. But what if I'm right? Let's just, can we just imagine that for one moment? Like, what if this really is Jesus? Like, what if you will get to witness Jesus in the flesh? What if, even if it's a small chance that this is true, isn't that worth wondering about? Isn't that worth going down a rabbit hole for? He's the most famous person alive. Like, it's pretty epic. But you'll notice there's two men in this picture. There's two kings, actually. There's the little surprise. And that is a whole other rabbit hole. Kind of like in Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, the two towers. The king on the left is the King of Scotland, and the king on the right is the King of England. What I've heard is that it's actually three messiahs, the Holy Trinity. It's just a creation thing. It's like a science thing. It's a maths thing. It's like an organic architecture thing. So, like I said, buckle up. Oh. But there's no greater, more worthy a rabbit hole to go down than this, ladies and gentlemen. You want to be entertained? You want a mystery? Well, you're welcome. If you're thinking about leaving Earth, don't do it. It's about to get good. I know it's really hard, and I know it sucks ass, and I've been there. I myself called Lifeline last year. I was like, okay, I'm done. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and the party's about to start. So you got to do your homework, okay, and have a little faith. Just dance. What else? What is there to say? What is there to say except, holy shit, real kings! Not like Charles. If there were ever a time on Earth that we needed a real king, it would be now. Okay. Okay. So, thank God. And you're probably like, I can't be bothered looking at this. This is just crazy. This girl clearly has functional schizophrenia. I'm just gonna watch Netflix. I'm gonna go watch a movie about kings on Netflix. Bro, like, it's happening in real life, okay? This is better than any movie. If you got all the best movies ever made, if you got all the Mel Gibson movies and just all the best movies, put them all together in epicness, there's still nothing compared with this. This is the greatest story never told. It's never been told. But I'm telling it now. And look, you know what? That's not true. People have been telling it for thousands of years. It's been told in a million different ways, in every possible way. I look at the Disney movies now. I realize it's all these prophecies of the return of the King, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. It's in so many of our stories, like Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, Alice in Wonderland, the feminine, these are the mystery teachings. The feminine, she falls in consciousness. She goes into the dark. Okay? But then, like a phoenix, it's rebirthed. Okay? But it takes a while to wake her up. She is very sleepy. Princess Aurora, it's not like in the cartoon. It's not a simple, like, oh, I'm awake. It's a brutal experience. It's brutal. So, I look forward to seeing her make her debut. I'm very curious to see who she is. Like in chess, you got to protect the queen, okay? So, she's in hiding somewhere out there. Wherever she is, I look forward to watching the movie. It's going to be a great movie. And that's what it's about at the end of the day, entertainment. That's what life is. It's just a play, entertainment. So, that's something to wonder about, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so it's Monday, 24th of July, 2023, and I'm outside the Tower of London. Here's my ancestor, Trajan, really descended from Emperor Antoninus Pius, which means pure Antonio, and my surname Portugal was Antonio Pura, which means pure Antonio. And Tower of London is where Queen Anne Boleyn faked her execution and made her great escape, and that's celebrated by the ceremony of keys at 10 p.m. every night. And Walter Raleigh was incarcerated here for 13 years, and during which time he wrote Shakespeare. And he actually bought the estates of Anonymous and improved on Anonymous plays and others' plays, and created Shakespeare. And he had 13 years in the Tower of London to do it. So what else was he doing? Alchemy, and he was not under guard, and the whole front wall on the other side of the Tower of London, that didn't have the front wall that it has now. So Walter Raleigh was in the Blood Tower, which was right above the Traitors' Gate entrance, so up and down. he had access to go in and out whenever he wanted, and he would row up to Crosby Hall, row and sail up to Crosby Hall, about 3 miles upstream, and meet the Marquess of Pembroke, who wrote the sonnets. So, Power of London.